We have a message today that has a heavy and dark eclipse influence, and it seems to be circling those who I'm still channeling for. The eclipse is, I think, tomorrow is the heaviest day, but the post effects will last probably about 3 or 4 days after. I think dreams are kind of the center of today's reading. You could be, for the first time, really paying attention to dreams out of nowhere or be fascinated by them. This could also just be a message to start to notice them because there's something really important being communicated to you through your subconscious at this time. The devil and the 12th house are bringing up heavy subconscious themes being shown to this collective. So who I'm speaking to today, who's drawn to this darker energy that I'm presented, shadow work could be really important to you, whether you're focused on it now or it could be something you become more aware of in your spiritual journey. A note about what I'm drawing and channeling is that it'll always be left in the description for you if you're curious about what I pull or want a little bit more complexity. Just a reminder to not take the details in the description at face value. Like if you don't understand a message, those complexities in the description are not going to make it more clear. They are there for those who deeply resonate and want to add more. They are not a tool to help understanding. In fact, I think if you use it that way, things might become less clear. Who this message is for today is a little foggy, and maybe it's a little intentional that it is that way. I think for who I'm talking to today, there's some fear in you that you could be unconsciously acting in a way that might be showing your shadow self. There might be a shadow aspect here that isn't being addressed. I think spirit might be communicating to you through dreams or shadow activation is what it's seeming like. I think this reading is going to be geared towards shedding light on those shadow activations that you might be having. So you're feeling maybe a particular pull towards activation is what it's seeming like. And then after that activation settles, you settle. If you feel like that is a continuous pattern, then this message might be for you, like a pull between activation and settling. What activation could feel like is it could feel like urgency to take an action of some kind, and then settling could feel like retreating from that action. So you could be repeating a pattern in multiple areas of your life. This could be showing up as like perhaps activation in job seeking and then back to retreating and settling back into the original job. It could also show up in dating if you're single right now. A common way that this appears energetically is it's like an urgency to find someone and then finding them or finding something and then deactivating back into disinterest again and dropping that person that you found. Another way is urgency for friends could show up as well, or being closer to family. You could feel like you just need them out of nowhere. You get them, you gather them, and then the activation thread settles and you drop them again, right? So this is like the push and pull that I'm trying to explain is there's an activation thread and then there's a disengaging thread. It could really apply to anything, but the core thread here is you're in cycles of Mars action once that thread activates, and then you settle back into deactivation and it continues. And I think the message here for those who are resonating with this and they feel pulled in those ways is that this is going to talk about the shadow work that accompanies that activation and deactivation. I don't know if this message is going to be a fun message or a validating one, but it seems like it's a true or deeper one. So buckle up if that resonates with you. I kind of get the vibe of like a postcard from your future self, especially if you're feeling a lot of synchronicities or messages being presented to you at this time. We only identify with time as a social construct, but the truth is there's no such thing as time. It's just energetic communication to ourselves. And I see what's happening with you is because there's a major shift underway is you are having a lot of pings from yourself. Let's say that self is you in the future, but really time is a construct. Time, as we measure it, hours, years, aging, whatever, is, again, a social construct. It keeps us organized in our daily life, but that's not how energy or consciousness actually works. So what I sense here is, in an energetic sense, everything is simultaneous, past, present, future. They're all stacked. It's all on the same page. But what's happening with you is when your future self is communicating with you like this is happening from what I'm seeing, it's not because it's traveling back or forward or anything like that. It's emerging because you're aligning to a version of yourself who's already lived in that timeline rather than floating in the in-between spaces where maybe it's not as energetically strong. So the synchronicities and the dream emphasis that you might be feeling right now are from the subconscious, and it's kind of confirming you are aligning to that stronger timeline with yourself, and your energy is pinging back to you in that way. There are many timelines of you that exist, but I see you're elevating to a much higher and stronger and conscious one. And so that's where you're feeling that energy being pushed back to you much more strong. What happens when you shift and you begin to experience odd things like this is you'll start being way more aware of the things that you weren't before. Like dreams are getting heavier, they're more layered in meaning. You'll wake up with emotions and you'll just feel the universe wants your attention in some way. And I think that that's what's happening to who I'm speaking to right now, is it just feels heavy and pulling and commanding almost. I also get the sense that who I'm speaking with today is a little confused because of this commanding energy. Honestly, they're getting a lot of heavy pulls from messaging. And I don't think what's happening is spirit or the divine is directly speaking to you. And I want to say that that's why it's so disorienting and that's why it's so heavy. Is the divine is collective guidance, but you have a stronger force than the divine being pulled on you. The reason it feels so strong right now and feels so disorienting is because it is from you. It is from yourself. It is not from the collective energy pulling you. And that's why it's so off-putting, is a lot of people mistake divine interference or downloads from spirit as like pulling at them, but the heavier pull that you're feeling is more direct because it's you talking to yourself. That's why it feels stronger than guidance, is it's more like a command. Spirit kind of guides you, but you command yourself in other words. So I'm kind of getting an overwhelming amount of communication or noise from these pulls from yourself. This is like the energy of ordering a package in the mail or ordering something online and getting notifications of the delivery almost excessively, right? It's like you want to know when the package is coming, but you don't want to be notified of every turn and area the package takes. You might intuitively know the package is on its way or know that you're going to be getting these gifts that are going to land with you, but the consistent attention being drawn to delivery is almost ruining that experience in some way or diverting your attention unnecessarily. So it could kind of feel annoying at this time, like you're being pulled in multiple directions just because the energy from yourself is so commanding. This might be a call to dial down spiritual messaging too and focus more on that internal command that you're getting from yourself. Like, for example, watching too many tarot readers online or listening to too many messages, which is funny because I am one of those people, and I'm directly telling you to stop listening to me. But what I mean is don't watch too many where it counteracts your internal signal. There should be a mindful limit here, especially at this time where you're feeling that commanding pull much deeper. There's a reason your internal guidance and compass is on so strongly right now. And I'm going to help you with that, I think, a little bit. So going back to that energy you might have where you're being activated in some way, and then you settle back down into deactivation or retreat, like I mentioned at the beginning with those examples, there's some sort of shadow work here that's being highlighted. The activation that you feel, or the urgency to go find a date, find a friend, escape in some way, leave the job, it looks different because it could be in so many different applications. The activation energy is critical to healing. What it's telling you is it needs to be internalized, meaning it needs to have you just feel it and sit with it without moving towards what it's guiding you to do. That could look like, for example, being activated to fix loneliness if you're single and downloading a dating app to find a date. Like you take that action, you take that step. The shadow work here, though, is you feel that incredible urge to move to download the dating app and just bring all your awareness to it and allow it to pass instead of actually taking the steps to find someone until the deactivation happens. Because what keeps happening is you're activated, you find the thing, and then you become deactivated, right? Because it's not meant for you to engage in that thing. And you may already be on some level aware of what I'm talking about. Like, yes, I've heard it a million times, just sit with the feeling, let it pass. But this is more than that. I think the insight here that I'm giving you that's different is the more that you do that action that you're being called to, instead of just observe it and let it move through you, the more you're actually leaking your energy instead of allowing it to circulate within you. So let me say that a different way. Another way to say this is like that high voltage energy boost you feel is not actually a bad thing. It is yourself sending you healing energy to circulate within your body. Instead of pushing it outwards and allowing it to escape by doing the actions that you want to do, like download the apps, find the friends, whatever, you use it for yourself. By keeping it inside and allowing it to circulate within you, you are using that healing energy for yourself instead of allowing it to leak outwards towards those activities that you've been partaking in. So I think the message from yourself right now is it is intentional that you are getting these activation energies being sent to you. These high voltage, I need to do something right now feelings are actually healing energies being sent to you from your future self. It's not that you're going off the rails or you're going crazy like you may think. It's more of your body getting that energy to circulate to heal fragmented parts of your psyche that need shadow work healing. So instead of externalizing this energy by doing the action that you want to do compulsively, which is however it may manifest for you, it could be anything. Allowing it to sit within you and circulate within your body is actually healing and integrating that shadow work like you need to. So I think the main message here today feels layered. It feels full of depths and shadow work that maybe we don't want to acknowledge as a collective, or maybe we just don't know about. I sense there's a slight rejection here to those parts of you, and maybe that's why you may be reaching for these external things that I mentioned. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be the exact examples I gave, but there is a desire to reach instead of sit with why, perhaps. If you aren't reaching for external things, which I sense there might be a few of you who are just sitting with the feeling, you may still not be aware of how this activation is actually healing energy from your future or self. I think it's because there really is no formal knowledge of these things in the spiritual realm, or community. So the urgency as it stands is often misunderstood as a problem or some sort of thing we need to fix. Like if we get urgent or an energy boost out of nowhere, we're going to think it's like mania. We're going to think it's like not a good thing and we have to like contain it in some way. So the message here from you, from future or from yourself, your higher self, is that this isn't something you need to fix. This isn't something you need to pour out in another thing. This is actually your confirmation that you're in a timeline shift, and the response from your future self is to send you that higher energy that is healing, that looks like bursts of energy or mania out of nowhere, really. This energy transfer is going to keep happening too, is what I'm being shown. It's going to highlight a sense of urgency in whatever area requires your attention to integrate that shadow work. So it could look different for everybody. It could change for you as you heal certain pieces and integrate others. For example, if waves come over you to start rage applying or go on a date to fix loneliness, there are two distinct shadow aspects being highlighted in those applications. The first one is financial fear. So there's some part of you that fears financial instability. The second is a love or connection fear, which just highlights the fear that loneliness might be indefinite. It might never be fixed. And you're kind of scared to sit in that loneliness forever. Those are two different shadow aspects, but both of them are revolving around that fear theme. What I'm being shown here, though, is neither is true, but those parts have to be activated and sat with in order to integrate the healing. So the message here is you must sit with the feeling of discomfort and allow it to heal the shadow aspects to integrate. That means you can't exert it externally on what you want to do. Like you can't take the action to go find the job. You can't go on the date. You can't really make the friends. You can't take that step forward. You must just sit in that energy and allow it to circulate internally. And that is the way to integrate the healing and obtain the feeling you want, which is that you want to not experience that urgency. You want to not experience that fear anymore. And that's why you take that step. And that's why you do those actions. But the only way to get to that feeling where you don't have those fear aspects is you have to allow it to circulate within you and heal and integrate those shadow aspects. And it's kind of a repetition in that way. Like it'll keep coming over you. That energy will keep being sent to you to heal and integrate those fragmented parts of yourself. So, in other words, in order to get to the level of never fearing being alone or never fearing instability again, or whatever you fear, to just release that fear, that shadow aspect, you have to sit with this energetic pulse that your future self is sending you and allow it to heal you from within instead of outsourcing it, instead of leaking it into these external activities. That is a true way to integrate the shadow self. That is a true way to escape these feelings of instability or these aspects of ourselves we don't want to acknowledge. Now, you could, in theory, keep outsourcing it because every time you do that, you distract from the feeling of the fear. So you could, in theory, keep doing that and not feeling the fear, not feeling the shadow aspect of yourself. But you must first feel it. You must first allow this healing energy to circulate to fully integrate the shadow aspects that your future self wants you to. This last part is maybe a confirmation to those who already instinctively know to do this, but keep leaving comments. The comments themselves do not have to be anything personal about you. Think of these as energetic nudges. This helps me align to your energy more efficiently and be able to channel for you. And I want to be able to do that. I read each and every one, always. None are missed. None are ignored. I am so thankful for each and every one of you and love you all. So, cheers, friends.